Hi guys, hi guys, hi guys. I hope you're all doing really well today. I apologise if you can hear some noises. Next door seems like they've just arrived home with their children. It's also raining quite badly. I will try and edit as best as I can. Obviously you've seen the title of today's video. I've got a collection here of squishy. Because we'll get into it, but the video game is bakery themed, so I thought it was fitting. And I'm sitting to one side because I am gonna put pictures and videos of what we've been working on so far up next to me. But if there's a bit of a lull in things to show you, I thought I could just squish things instead. Okay, I'm back. My tripod was also really slowly falling, so I'm wondering if the first part of this video is just me sinking lower and lower. Okay, so I'll get first. It smells really good. I'll get the first squishy out whilst I'm talking about this, because there's nothing to show for the first part. This video title may come as a surprise to some people. I've made a couple of community posts talking about this. But yeah, me and my partner are attempting, and I guess the key word is attempting to make a video game. If you've been following this channel for a while, then you know I do love video games. I do try and feature a fair amount of video game content alongside, you know, my vintage content. I've been playing video games since I was a very young child. And about 5 months ago, me and my partner moved into our first house together. And I was browsing on YouTube and I came across a video. I don't know who the creator is, but it was a woman and the title was something like how to make girly video games or something like that, cute video games. The title was something like that. And I just clicked on it. I thought the thumbnail and the title looked interesting. Now this particular video is more about making very like small short games, like dress up games and that kind of thing. It smells so good. You know, like the kind of games that you would get on those websites when you were like a kid. Like I think there was like Girls Go games and stuff like that. So it was just talking about making really small games. But it kind of made me think, and I'd never really thought about it before. My partner does coding and computer programming. Don't ask me what he does. I don't really understand it, but he knows computer coding And he also writes music. He plays the guitar, and he writes a lot of like lo-fi music. He's not made any in a while, but like he does. So those are a couple of like things that he can do. And I thought, okay, it's kind of interesting. I am not gonna say I'm proficient at art in any way, but I would say I'm quite a crafty person. I like lots of different mediums of art, and I've dabbled in a lot of different kinds of mediums of art. I enjoy storytelling, coming up with designs and characters, and I started thinking, what if we could put all of those skills together and try and make a video game? Which I know sounds kind of crazy, but I'd never thought about it before. I'll move to a different squishy. This is one of my favourites. It smells like mint. It literally, the bottom smells like chocolate, the top smells like mint. It's so good. And I think my partner was away for the evening when all this happened, and I messaged him and I said, like, I think I'm gonna try and learn pixel art. And he was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, would you make a game with me? And he was saying like, oh, you're looking into the idea of making a game. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then when he came home, it smells so good. When he came home, I said, you know, I downloaded Aseprite, or bought Aseprite at this point, which is a pixel art computer program. And I was, you know, playing about with that, trying to get used to it. Never made pixel art before, by the way. And I said to him, I really want to try and make a video game. But like, obviously you make music and you know a little bit, well, you know a lot about computer programming coding, maybe not for games, but he said, well, I've looked at making a game before, like the general mechanics of it. And I said, would you do this with me? This would be so cool. I was like, a project for us to do together. I think just moved in together. And I feel like it combines, I keep saying it combines our skills. It combines his skills with skills that I hope to learn. And he was going, yeah. He's like, the thing is, what if I put a load of work and effort into really trying to learn, you know, video game coding and making music, and you give up? Now this might sound harsh, but it's pretty accurate. I tend to get really into a certain art medium, whether that be knitting, needle felting, watercolouring, and it's never that I have a moment where I go, I'm giving up, like I don't want to do this anymore. It's more just like every art medium that I pick up, I naturally, it just fizzles out, and I stopped doing it. And he was like, but if I put in a load of time and effort and you just fizzle out and the idea just, you know, peters off. And I was saying to him, that's partly why I want to do this though, like I actually want to put time and effort into something that I don't just give up, you know. I'm tired of having like 3 items of knitting, a couple of watercolours, a couple of needle felted. A really good example of that is, do you guys remember when I was advertising those like little soft toys or bears and stuff that I was selling? I got so into making them. Loved making them, sold a couple, had a really fun time doing it. Fizzled out, I've not done it. So here's concerns were totally valid. But I said, you know, I was like, and this is so true, I'm really, really tired of feeling like a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like, I really want to have not lots of little bits that I make, but a proper project that we're working towards and that I see through. Okay, it turns out dreadfully, and we never actually managed to, you know, list it on Steam or anything, but at least we can say we've done that, or I can say I've done that, you know. And he said, okay, you know, I'll give you a couple of weeks, and if in a couple of weeks sorry, the rain is really, really bad. And if in a couple of weeks you're still sticking at it and you're still doing it, I'll start looking into game coding. And I said, okay. So this is where I'm gonna put this down because we're gonna have some things to show. So I started learning pixel art. For me, and we'll get into this in a bit, don't get me wrong, the pixel art medium for video games is one that I love. The retro vibe is something that I love. Some of my favourite games are Game Boy Advance games, so things like Legend of Zelda, Minish Cap, pixel art game, beautiful. But a large majority of the choice for me was I thought it was attainable. I don't have to learn a 3D program, 3D rendering, or anything like that. I'm not saying pixel art is not a difficult skill. I've definitely learnt that it is. And I'd still have to learn, you know, animation in a 2D form, but for me it just felt more attainable. It felt like I could do it. So I started to learn pixel art. And this is some of the stuff that I was starting off making. So here are the first attempt that I did at fruit sprites. And the funny thing is this is so unrealistic, and I don't know why I was like this at the start. So say I drew an apple, right? My first ever go at doing pixel art, you know, we're in the first week or so, and I'd make my first apple. Me and my partner's desks are side by side in the office. I'd lean over and I'd be like, come look at this, like, what do you think of this apple? Do you think it's good enough to be in the game? And it's like, obviously not, but he'd lean over and be like, well, it's not bad, but like maybe keep trying. And I'm like, you think it's not good enough, then it's not good enough to be in the game. And he's like, well, you've not been learning pixel art very long. And I'm so at the very start I opened an Instagram account which is called, I'll put it down here, retro__cherries. This is our Instagram. Well, I say I'm putting stuff on it, but technically it's for the game. So I'm so glad I actually started posting to that from the beginning. My logic for that was it will keep me motivated and accountable, but actually now looking back, I started this about 4 months ago, I think. It was July time, and now it's the beginning of November, so looking back I can just see how far I've come, which is nice. So I spent about 3.5 months consistently trying to improve my pixel art. And here is my collection of pixel fruit now. I did this about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago maybe. And again, I'll just show some of the pixel art that I've been making more recently. Do I think it's professional standard? No. No, but I think hopefully you can see that there's been a clear development. And I think now my partner is taking it seriously, the idea that I do feel very dedicated and want to really pursue this, and he started looking into stuff and doing stuff himself. Okay, so this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about my idea for a video game. I did put a post about 3 or 4 months ago when I first decided we were going to be working on a video game. I put a post up and I asked if people had any questions. I'll probably have to pause this video and get the questions back up. I think there are only a couple. And one of them was definitely if we plan on either having or adding at some point like customizable options for the player. And if I've remembered that question right, then it kind of gets into, I suppose, early access as well. I don't think I would ever, if we get to ever a stage of being able to release the game or part of the game, I think I would always want to opt for releasing as a whole rather than doing early access. And customizability, 100%. That's gonna be something. There are other questions as well. I'm trying to see if I can remember. I'll definitely pause this and get them back up so I don't miss. But in the latest post where I just asked if anybody had any questions, somebody asked, what experience did you have going into this? Which I suppose I've already kind of summed up, which is basically none on my side, and coding language and computer programming understanding from my partner's side, but not specifically for games. And he does make music, so not nothing, but not loads. And this person said that at university, so I really want to know, did you go to university for like gaming and stuff? Because that makes me feel very intimidated answering this question. They asked, basically what they would always get asked at university is why this game? Like, what is making you think that this game is going to be good, that this game is worthy of spending your time and attention on? This is where it gets a little bit. So, for me, the two biggest games of my childhood that have still influenced me, that I still play, that I still hold really close is Animal Crossing on the GameCube. So in Europe that was known as, or in the UK, Animal Crossing Population Growing, Animal Crossing Wild World on the Nintendo DS, and Harvest and Animal Crossing New Leaf too, massively, and Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life on the GameCube. So those games are the biggest games for me personally that were inspiring me. And my idea, I suppose, I think it's tricky to explain, and this probably means I don't have a good enough idea. My idea is that it's the atmosphere that I want to capture. We'll get kind of more into this in a bit. For me, playing those games, yeah, of course it's about the gameplay, but there's not a huge, I don't know, set criteria of things you have to do. It's a little bit loose. And the reason that I always come back to these games is the atmosphere and the vibe that it gives. And again, I'll get into that a little bit more, but we'll explain it better in a bit. But the overall idea I've got with the game is the idea that it's kind of the classic Harvest Moon game idea, which is that a relative passes away and leaves you a bakery. So you move into a new town, obviously lots of different kinds of people, and the aim is that you start running your own bakery, and that's kind of where the linear goals are with. I think you're going to start off with a bakery cart, and then if you save up enough money you can redo the bakery itself and all that kind of stuff. And I started off not wanting it. I started off wanting it for it to be so dissimilar to a farming sim that you would buy everything. You wouldn't grow anything or have any animals, but I think I've changed my mind on that. You'll have the animals necessary to making baked goods, so basically chickens and cows, and you'll be able to grow things in order to make things to sell at the bakery. And I suppose alongside that, what I always find about farming sims, and this includes Harvest Moon all the way up to Stardew Valley, is what I love so specifically about Animal Crossing is you truly feel like you've entered into a world. The villagers have reams and reams of different things they can say, different questions they can ask. So what I would like to try and achieve is getting that balance between the idea that you can send letters, you can receive letters, but it just have so much more of an open line of dialogue and interactivity than I've found most farming sims seem to have. Obviously this isn't a farming sim, but it's the same vibe, life sim. And again, I do think you can build up relationships and get married and all that kind of stuff. I do plan on that. The other thing that is really important to me that I think is going to be quite tricky, everything's going to be tricky for this as well. What I love so much, and this is a spoiler, I don't want to hear this is a spoiler for parts of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. You age, your character ages, all the characters around you age, and at the end of the game, you die, you pass away. I don't plan on that. I don't plan on you passing away. I don't really plan on adult characters around you aging. However, what I find about other games that stay so stagnant is the characters that start off as children stay as children, and for me, I think that kind of stagnates things. So characters that start as children, I would like to grow up and age throughout the game, and then they'll get to a baseline where everyone just stops. Which seems unrealistic, but that's what you can do with games. It doesn't have to be fully realistic, right? I also plan on adding a level of complexity to romanceable partners. There's going to be a hotel in the game, and there's going to be one romanceable person that will stay at the hotel per season. So one person that comes back every summer, spring, autumn and winter, and you've only got one season a year to try and build up your heart level with them. I think that's going to add a level of complexity. But so the more I was thinking about this is about 3 weeks ago now, and I think it was just actually after the question where somebody said, what makes your game different, like why this game? And for me, I thought it's the atmosphere. I want to capture this atmosphere where even if you don't, I would log on to play Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, even if I didn't feel like going through the motions of what the game was for. I would log in just to wander around aimlessly, drink in the atmosphere, the scenery, the vibes, and chat to people. Not real people, the characters, you know. That's kind of partly what I'm going for, the atmosphere, the vibe. And I suppose what all those games have in common, and I started to think about it, what do all those games have in common? I'll open this now because I don't have anything to show for a minute now. Oh, this smells really good. What do all those games have in common? They all have a very specific early 2000s low poly art style. The graphics are a little bit crispy, a little bit crunchy, a little bit pixelated, but it's 3D and it's low poly. And how do I feel about so many, this is not me crapping on newer games that do, you know, life sims, but something that I personally really, I guess it's a personal choice. I don't think they look ugly at all, but I personally dislike this clean, crisp look to games. A lot of animes look this way too now. Like if you guys seen Sailor Moon Crystal, the animation is gorgeous, but it's so clean and crisp and perfect. And I would still aesthetically rather watch the original Sailor Moon from the 90s because I just love the retro vibes of it. And I think that's what I'm missing in 3D games of that genre, is I wish they were a little more crunchy, a little more low poly, a little more stylized in not such a clean, crisp way. Because to me, it's so beautiful and so nostalgic. And that's the atmosphere that I want to capture. And I started thinking to myself, and again, this is not me crapping on the medium of pixel art, but I thought, have you ever felt that way playing a pixel art game? really a valid answer though, is it? And I was stewing on this for a little bit. Just kept thinking about it. And eventually the conclusion came to me that I would never feel satisfied or like I had made the game that I truly envisioned if I made the game in pixel art. And that was really hard. I remember when I told my partner this and I said I feel like I've wasted so much time. I'm sorry, I keep sniffing it, it smells so good. I've wasted so much time now making and practicing and learning the medium of pixel art, and I'm really proud of myself. I think I've gotten to a good point with it, and what I'm just gonna drop all of it now. I'm just gonna say like no. And I started, I will put their name here because I can't fully remember. It's something like Sunkapan. I'll put their username here. I found them on Instagram and they're using a 3D programming software called Blender. And I thought what they were creating was amazing, beautiful. And I'd heard of Blender before and I know it's free. So I thought, why don't I just give it a go? And what I could see that she was doing that I thought was so perfect for the art style is she was combining 3D with pixel art. So say she was making a soda can. The soda can would be made 3D in Blender, but then the label would be pixel art. And I thought, what, like a perfect combination. I could do that and then I've not wasted all my pixel art skills that way. I'm gonna put this down now because I've got some pictures to show. So I started to learn Blender. I'm about 2.5 weeks, I would say, maybe a little less, when I'm filming this, into learning Blender. And boy, is it difficult. I've never used really even Photoshop, so to go in and start using something like Blender was the biggest learning curve. This is the first thing that I made. Some low poly blueberry pancakes. And I encountered so many problems. And then I started to create other things and eventually turn them into a low poly bedroom, which I've not finished yet. Then I started creating characters. So I've got my first couple of character attempts here, and then one that I made and put into my bedroom scene that I've been working on. I've been working on combining my pixel art with Blender, so I made some fruit boxes that I'll put up here as well. I made some milkshake like cartons as well recently. I say recently, yesterday. I know it's going to be a huge journey ahead to learn Blender to a good enough standard, but it feels really bright. It feels like at least I'm now striving to make the game that I really want to make. So I have to say thank you to the person that left that comment about why this game, because it really did make me think, and the reason of why this game I wasn't even working towards at that point, but I am now. I still don't know why this game and the answer being atmosphere and vibe is enough, but for me that is my why. I feel like I miss that style of game so much, and there's looks like some really good games that capture the general gameplay that I'd like to do, but they don't have the vibe that I'm looking for. They're so crisp and clean looking and there's no crunch to them. And I love those graphics, those Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo DS, even Nintendo 3DS, those graphics, I love them so much. Oh my goodness, the rain is so bad. That's what I'm aiming to recreate with this game. That's what I would like to recreate with this game. So yeah, I'm 4 months in, and 3 weeks ago I started learning an entirely new medium. I was so stressed about it. I still am a bit. And I was getting really upset to my partner, and I was saying, but I've wasted so much time learning pixel art. He was like, you haven't, like, we're not even at the point where we're necessarily creating stuff that's gonna go in the game. We're in the pre-phase right now. So it's the best time that you could have switched. We're not months into actually properly doing stuff for the game itself. There's time. And now I've realised I can combine my pixel art with Blender. It feels like it was meant to be, but I can't help looking at people that are my age making such incredible stuff in Blender. I've been doing it for years and feel like I'm so far behind. I have to just keep trying to tell myself that everything's come at the right time and that I'm gonna get there. And I truly, truly don't want to give up on this. Whether we release it or not, whether it's crap or not, I really, really want to make a functioning game. Yeah. So that's my journey so far into making or trying to make a video game. I hope this was kind of interesting. Follow the Instagram if you're interested. I know I've got a long way to come, and I have no idea if what I envision is A, possible, or B, gonna be that fun. I don't know. Figuring it out as I go, but I have such a clear vision, and I think that that's what's carrying me right now. That's what made me change the whole medium that I was filming in. That I was, making assets in. So yeah, I know that there is a lot more journey ahead. I have no end date, in mind for this goal. We'll just see how it goes. Obviously I work full time. Not solo deving it. I've got my partner doing all the coding, but we still are only 2 people that run a house, work full time. So I have no idea when this is going to come to fruition, but I'm proud of myself. I've never stuck with anything for this long before, and I feel like once you've stuck with something for a certain amount of time, you kind of get over a hump where you're probably not going to stop. And I feel like I'm past that point now, being 4 months in. I think I'm going to keep going, and I really, really hope I do. And I'm posting all about it to hold myself accountable. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it interesting. Any more questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, I'll see you guys again soon.